as for whatever reason, Fairy Tail has been hated on for a long time. Most of it has definitely been without a reason, although there is some reasonable, I'm not gonna deny that. Fairy Tail is not my favorite shonen, but it for sure is not as bad as people say. If you wanna hate on something, hate on happiness. I mean, that so sucks, dude. Anyway, I've been going around the internet and collecting the biggest criticisms, and now I'm gonna compare them to other shonen and show that it's not that different and people just have double standards, really. I'm mostly gonna be comparing to Dragon Ball, but there are other shows as well. I'm also gonna include just shows that I've seen or I'm in the middle of, so it will be further away, so I'm not gonna judge anything that I haven't clearly seen, although there are some things I know, because I have seen them on the internet, so I can comment on that. First off, the biggest criticism that I hear all the time is that no Fairy Tail characters die. Well, I mean, kinda wrong, since there are characters that die in Fairy Tail, Ultir, Igneel, the Magic Council. They do die, but then again, how many important people have died in One Piece? How many important people have died in Dragon Ball? Oh, I'm sorry, they die in Dragon Ball, but they get revived by Dragon Ball, so hey, that's fine then. So if you're saying that if Fairy Tail had a system like, oh, you have to be killed 3 times, then you actually die, then it would be fine. Macaro's only died twice, so like, it would be fine the 3rd time. Like, okay, yeah, that's fine. That's in the story, so that works. Is that where we're going here, right? Huh? Also, another big factor that I've heard and searched is that Fairy Tail has uninteresting villains. Now, I myself like villains, and how if they're done really well, they're good villains. They're make or break for the story. But I'm just gonna say here, Zeref is a better villain than any villain in Dragon Ball. I mean, his backstory is great, his motive makes sense. There are other villains than Fairy Tail, the motive makes sense. What the freak is the thing with Dragon Ball villains? They all want to either control the world or destroy the world. And I'm talking about Z here, because original Dragon Ball is actually good. Yeah, Z's villains only want to destroy or control the world. Like, that's anything special, like, come on. It's the same with everyone except Vegeta and Nappa. Those are the only guys. Also, that Natsu gets no development. Well, this can't be really conquered with any other shonen. Because yes, in other shonens the main characters do get development. However, Goku doesn't change either. And he's considered as one of the GOAT MCs, huh? Yeah, I see the double standards here. Also, big complaint that I've seen is the plot. The plot of Fairy Tail makes no sense, nothing's consistent. Yeah, well, what the fuck is the plot of Dragon Ball? There's no plot, there's people trying to destroy the world and heroes trying to save them. At least Fairy Tail has a consistent plot that actually makes sense. One of the most prominent complaints, villains turn good. Like that did not happen in any other shonen. Oh yeah, no, I'm not seeing anything. Guess these guys don't matter, then they're now villains, right? Complaint number whatever is that arcs in Fairy Tail are all the same, which being Lucy gets kidnapped, heroes gets beaten, Natsu thinks about friends, beats the enemies. But there's only 2 arcs, canon arcs, that actually start by Lucy getting kidnapped or involving something about Lucy. Anything else is all about the guild. There's not every arc goes like, oh, Lucy gets kidnapped, la la la. There's only 2 that actually, in the canon arcs, actually involve Lucy. One is in the beginning, and one is during the Grand Magic Games. Those are the only ones that actually involve Lucy. Now this can't be actually contributed to other shonen except Dragon Ball, because they have different arcs, they start in different waves. But how about Dragon Ball, my friends? Villains come, they kill civilians or innocent people, the heroes try to stop them, get beaten, have to wait 10 chapters or episodes for Goku to come to save them. Goku comes, shows that his power level is higher and beats the enemy, apart from the Cell saga. But in that as well, Goku had to make the sacrifice for Gohan to finish the fight. What is that? The complaint of Fairy Tail having no foreshadowing. Oh, excuse me, but am I not correct to assume that Acnologia and Seraph were foreshadowed for a long time before they became the final villains, as well as, big spoiler coming in, that the Dragon Slayers were all 400 years ago and that Natsu was END. If that's not foreshadowing, then I don't know what is. Also, speaking of foreshadowing, Dragon Ball Z has none of that. I don't know about Super, I haven't seen much of it. You wanna talk about something that didn't have foreshadowing? Kaguya from Naruto. She came out of the blue. What? The next criticism I have heard, is that power-ups are never used again. This can't be used in other shonens because, yes, to be fair, in every other shonen, the power-up that they get, it's permanent. But you know what? So is in Fairy Tail. Natsu uses Firelight in Dragon Mode after Hades, in multiple arcs after that, in Tartaros, in Grand Magic Games, and in 100 Years Quest as well. Wendy uses Dragon Force after she gets it, and Sting and Rogue use Dragon Force as well. So that's not a valid criticism because it is used again. Also, Natsu learned how to use Dragon Force later on, but you are right about that at the start he didn't use it again. But yes, that is not correct. I don't know why this is a complaint, but a criticism has been that no character in Fairy Tail gets character development. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but Luxus, Gashiel, Wendy, Ultier, Melody, Jalal. During this editing came up to mind Grey, Lucy, Juvia, Levi, Mira Jane, Carla, Kana. So I don't know what the frick's going on here about this no development thing. That's immediately a lot more characters than develop in Dragon Ball. The only actually developed character in Dragon Ball is Vegeta. Gohan develops backwards, I mean, yeah, it's development if you wanna call that development. So, hooray, I guess. But Krillin stays the same, he just gets a girl. Goku, as we already stated, he stays the same. Every other Z fighter stays the same. Vegeta's the only one that has developed throughout, and I guess Broly in the Broly movie. Those are the only two. That's already a lot less than Fairy Tail has, and for some reason, Dragon Ball is still regarded more highly than Fairy Tail. I guess it's the nostalgia that's coming through, I don't know. No stakes, huh? Well, yes, I do admit, knowing the fact that none of the heroes are gonna die is kinda no stakes, but then again, Tartarus had good enough stakes because people had died. Also, as I said before, in One Piece, you know that none of the Straw Hats are gonna die. Maybe some of the side characters, but no important ones. Same with Naruto, no important ones died, even in the war. The only one that mattered that actually died in the war was freaking Neji, and he was used as a relationship piece for Naruto and Hinata. Although you do have to give Naruto credit with it killing more important characters than any other shonen from Third Hokage, Jiraiya, Itachi, Azuma and all those. It does that more than any other shonen, but it drops again in the war. I don't know about My Hero because I only watched season 3 and I have heard that Black Clover does the same thing, that kills characters but brings them back. So yeah, there's that. And Dragon Ball has the Dragon Balls, so it has no stakes because everyone that dies can just be revived again. The reason why she didn't come up as her own individual in the character development part is because this is actually a legit complaint about someone. Ursa's no development apparently. Well, she doesn't really develop in a way that she luxes, or in a way that, oh, she was good, became bad, or she was bad, she became good, in that way. Her personality stays the same, but her development comes from her mental state. Whereas in the start of the series, she wore armor to protect herself, she didn't let anybody in. She thought that I should have to do this myself. But as the series went on, she learned to trust her comrades, let people in, and came to care about them more than anyone else. In a sense that even when she met her mother, who she had been searching for a long time, something about her parents or her past, she chose the guild rather than her own mother. So she does develop, not maybe in a like glaring way that, hey, I rebelled against you, now I'm good, in a way that Laxus does, or the same kind of way that Vegeta does, you know, saying like, okay, yeah, I was bad, now I'm gonna be a good guy again. Her mentality changes, and the way she sees the world changes. She develops in that kind of way, so she does develop just differently. Oh yes, the complaint that gets Fairy Tail the most hate, the one that people turn away from it because, and genuinely what makes it disliked about, power of friendship. Now, yes, I do admit it overuses it sometimes, especially in the war arc, but like, you're not gonna tell me that no other shonen uses power of friendship at the same amount of time as Fairy Tail before the war arc. Like, you're not gonna tell me this isn't power of friendship. Oh, and don't get me started on this one. As a matter of fact, it also contradicts the other point that characters come back to life and that's a bad thing. This was purely because of power of friendship and still was regarded good even though the characters also on top of that came back to life. And now, you know what? Goku's Super Saiyan is also power of friendship. He attained it because he watched his best friend, Krillin, get killed. That situation is counteracted with not being power of friendship. If Frieza kills Gohan, Goku's son, then it's understandable because that's his family. But because he kills his best friend, it's the same power of friendship as in Natsugo in the Dragon Force because Jalal is threatening to kill Ursa. You guys just don't want to admit that, but that is the truth. So I don't know what this power of friendship thing is. If you have a problem in Alvarez, I'm okay with that. I have a problem there too. But before that, I was gonna say that this Ursa scene was the problem, but because it correlates the same way to my previous video about Eden Zero, just because she didn't get a form, I'm gonna skip on that. Other than that, no, it does not overuse power of friendship. On top of all that, there's this scene in Dragon Ball Super, and no one seems to talk about it. I wonder why. Is it because Dragon Ball is liked, and Goku is liked, but Fairy Tail and Natsu isn't? Could be the reason, Ah yes. Last but not least, power scaling. Now I wasn't gonna put this here, because I really don't care about power scaling. Some people do, and some say that it ruins the story. Well, now that it's a complaint, and it's a major complaint, I'm just gonna address this. But let me say this. My hero does this and this with Deku, and no one complains about it, even though Stain should be splatter. And don't get me started on freaking Dragon Ball Super. This happens in Dragon Ball Super in episode 84 when Goku's in Super Saiyan Blue. How can you complain about Fairy Tail's power scaling after Dragon Ball does this? It makes no sense to me. Anyway, that concludes this video. I hope if you watched this far, you at least got some kind of idea what I mean and maybe change your opinion a bit, or maybe not. I'm not saying that you need to change your opinion. If you don't like Fairy Tail, then you don't like Fairy Tail, that's fine. But I just hope this clears some kind of misconceptions that people have. At the end of the day, I want to finish this video on this quote from the one and only true Mashima masterpiece by the girl Celia herself. Telling other people how they should feel is wrong. Thank you for watching and hope you subscribe.